August the 8th, 2017. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Casaubon? Here. Mr. Lauren? Absent. Mr. Richardson? Mr. Willie? Here. Mr. Manella?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Doherty? Here. Mr. Drum? Mr. Randolph? Oh, geez, yep. All right, we're only missing one tonight.
At this time, I would respectfully ask that you silence all phones and electronic devices. If you wish to appeal any recommendation of this commission, appeals cards are to our right. If you wish to speak in front of the commission, we would respectfully ask that you fill out a speaker's card for our record. Each side will be provided 10 minutes to present and 5 minutes for rebuttal. Lastly, at the end of each case, if you wish to discuss it further, we would ask that you exit the building, as if you go into the back lobby area, it does echo into the chamber. This time we would ask that you rise for an invocation by Commissioner Casaubon, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Casaubon.
Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come out tonight to handle the parish business. Lead and guide us in all our decisions, that we make the right decision. Lead us safely home. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In our packets are the minutes from the July 11th, 2017 meeting. I would ask you to review them, and I will entertain any motions. And again, if you would, please use your screen. Commissioner Davis.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve. Commissioner Lauren? Second by Commissioner Lauren. Any further comments? We have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Lauren. Please vote.
Motion carries 10 yeas, 0 nays.
This is a public hearing. The public is encouraged to speak on behalf or in opposition of each case. Entering parish right-of-way, servitudes and easements. Entering parish right-of-way, St. Landry Street and Low Davis Road, Ward 3, District 2. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable. The debtor, Southern Light LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable David Fitzgerald. This was postponed at the July 11th, 2017 meeting. Staff.
The developer requests to be postponed.
For 1 month?
Yes.
1 month. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Casaubon. For 1 month. Motion by Commissioner Casaubon to postpone for 1 month. Second by Commissioner Richardson. Any further comments? Please vote.
Motion carries 10 yeas, 0 nays.
Entering parish right-of-way, River Highlands Boulevard and Echo Street, Ward 3, District 5. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable. The debtor, Southern Light LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Riker Toledano. This, too, was postponed at the July 11th, 2017 meeting. Staff?
The petitioner also requests to be postponed on this.
Postponement for 1 month. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Motion approved to postpone.
Postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Any further comments? Please vote.
Motion carries 10 yeas.
Entering Parish right-of-way, Harrison Avenue, Ward 3, District 5. Request to enter Parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optic cable. The debtor, Hunt Communications LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Reichert Toledano. Staff?
Petitioner also requested to be postponed for 1 month.
Petitioner requests postponement for 1 month. Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
Make a motion to postpone for 1 month.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Dougherty. Second by Commissioner Dougherty. So a motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to postpone for 1 month, second by Commissioner Dougherty. Please vote.
Motion carries 10 yeas.
Minor subdivisions, 2017-735-MSP, an 8.32 acre parcel into parcels A and B, Ward 6, District 11. The owner, A&E Park, Inc., Surveyor Land Surveying, LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Steve Stefanczyk. Staff.
The developer is proposing to create 2 parcels from one 8.32 parcel, parent parcel. However, each parcel is accessing LA Highway 434 only through a 15.29 strip of land, see attached survey. However, it should be noted that parcels themselves are over 4 acres each and open up further back from the frontage into lot widths of over 300 to 600 feet. Therefore, for those reasons, and given that there are only 2 parcels involved in the minor subdivision, the staff has no objections. However, if the commission decides to approve the request, a waiver of the regulations are required relative to the lot width issue, and a 2/3 majority vote of the full membership of the commission, 8 members, is needed in order to approve pursuant to Section 4100 Waiver of Regulations, Subdivision Regulatory Ordinance 499.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? If you'd please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record and the reason for the request. And you can, that microphone should bend over that. There you go. Thank
My
you.
name's Hyacinth Antonio. I've been living on that property for the last 40 years, and I'm half owner with my brother, and he wants to sell his portion, and I want to keep mine. So this is what we're doing. We're trying to split it up so I could stay there.
We
Thank-
would like the council
thank you,
to
sir.
approve. It's-
Ma'am, if you would like to speak, if you'll come to the microphone.
We were just asking the council to please approve this so we can get this passed and things on the way.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. D'Antonio, you and I spoke earlier on the phone.
Yes.
And you understand, as we discussed, that the state envisions bringing a road down, a highway, Highway 3241, I believe, that's going to tie into 434. And the road may include a spur that comes off of the highway and may actually cross your driveway.
Yeah.
We don't, neither of us know, whether that is set in stone yet, and I believe you told me you haven't heard from anybody representing the state
Right.
in, recently.
last I heard was about 3 years ago when they had
They had
a
something
meeting
here, and that was the last
and
we
that
heard.
was on the drawings on the board. But I don't think that would really affect us.
Well, that's right. I mean, you have a 350-foot driveway.
Right,
Even if they take 100 feet of it,
right.
it's not going to impact your parcels.
Right.
You just might, if that does occur, you may be coming out of your property onto that spur
Right.
as opposed to 434, as long as you're aware of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I have a question too. So are you currently residing on parcel A or B?
B.
On B?
It's
Are there
the-
3
it's the
mobile homes
back.
out there now?
Is there what, I'm sorry?
3 mobile homes on parcel B now?
Right, there's, on B,
Yes.
there's 2 abandoned ones and,
2 that's
and us.
occupied.
And 2 is occupied, right?
And is a resident on parcel A as well? Is there a home on parcel A
Yes.
as well?
Right, that's
Is
my
that your
brother.
brother's?
Yes.
My brother has that part.
All right, so he's trying to sell the front parcel and you want to try to remain in the rear parcel?
Yes.
Right.
And is that why you have that oddly shaped
Let me see.
entrance on the northern side of the entire parcel?
Yes,
You go,
So when you come in, you can go around?
round
right,
it,
I
yes.
go along the north border of the property.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question for staff, please. Because it looks like these parcels will be owned by 2 different people, the road, off of 434, the road leading up to both of the parcels, that has to be built to code? Does that have to be built to state code?
The road leading off of
Uh,
434?
The 434, they're going to parcel A and B?
No,
No?
because it only involves 2 parcels.
Okay, so, all right. I just saw the 3 trailers in the back, and I was thinking there was gonna be multiple people in the back, but there's not.
No.
Okay, thank you.
It was a trailer park that's gonna be terminated.
Discontinued.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve. Commissioner.
With the waiver?
With a waiver. Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve with a waiver. Commissioner Casabon. Second by Commissioner Casabon. Any further comments? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve with the waiver, second by Commissioner Casabon. Please vote.
Motion carries with waivers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Twenty 744-MSP, a 17.373 acre parcel in the lots 1 through 5, Ward 9, District 11. Owner Brenda Lowry Case and Charlotte Lowry Collins. Surveyor J.V. Burks and Associates, Inc. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Steve Stefanczyk. Staff.
The owner is proposing to create 5 parcels from a 17.373 acre parent parcel. The proposed layout for the development is quite unorthodox since all of the lots are irregular in shape and do not meet the minimum lot width requirement of 150 feet and a minimum 90 feet width on a cul-de-sac for lots 2, 3, and 4 pursuant to code. Furthermore, since more than one of the parcels are being accessed via a private drive, said drive must be constructed to minimum parish standard in accordance to section 40045.01 minimum construction standards for a private drive of subdivision regulatory ordinance 499. Understanding the fact that there are 2 existing homes on the property and a driveway that services same, staff would prefer that the lots be altered to a more rectangular in shape and front on a private drive that would run north and south and parallel along the eastern boundary line of Lot 5. Therefore, due to the number of waivers required for all of the lots and the irregular shapes of same, staff does not support the minor subdivision request in its present form. However, if the commission decides to approve this request, a waiver of the regulations are required relative to the lot width issues, and a 2/3 majority vote of the full membership of the commission, 8 members, is needed in order to approve pursuant to section 4100 waiver of regulations of subdivision regulatory ordinance 499.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? Mr. Burks.
Yeah, Sean Burks, I'm representing the petitioners. I'm going to speak pretty shortly, but I'm going to allow the owners to come up and speak. In summary, this is a very unique case. It's a very unique piece of property. This is actually home of the oldest home in St. Tammany Parish is on this property, on this piece. And the reason for the very strange shape that we have for these lots is because they're trying to maintain the integrity of the entire site in as much with as little disturbance as possible. If you can look at the main features are the frontage along Bayou Liberty. There's also a very big, like a marsh line down along the section as well too. There's no intent to cross the marsh line to get to the bayou. But that's why a lot of the lots are skinnier on that northern portion right up over here. I will let the owners come up and speak. Charlotte Collins and also Brenda Case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Case?
Good evening. My name is Brenda Case. This is my sister, Charlotte Collins.
If you would you pull the microphone down a little bit?
We're probably the lowest ones that ever come, huh?
Thank you.
We're requesting a waiver of the lot width requirements on the property that we've recently inherited. Oh, it's up there, okay, good. That we've recently inherited from our parents, William and Pomeroy Lowry. It's a 17.373 acre property on which there are currently 2 homes. We wish to add 3 additional home sites for a total of 5 so that we and our 3 children can each have a home site on the property. Our family's all here, all of the people that will have the home sites. I appreciate you standing up. So those will populate the property, assuming that you approve it as it will be. Our goal for each of those sites is to respect the beauty of the property and to have a spectacular view, and there is a spectacular view, with sufficient high ground for each lot and also bayou access as closely as possible. As lifelong residents of St. Tammany Parish, we share your concern for proliferation of mailboxes and tiny lots and that sort of thing. We want St. Tammany Parish, because we love it a lot, to be a place that our children and grandchildren will always want to live. So we certainly don't want to contribute toward anything like that. But we do feel that this particular property is very unique, and for reasons that we'll show you now with this PowerPoint, we hope to convince you of the need for an exception to the requirements on that.
Oh, I think that's because this is up. And I'm Charlotte again. Our parents had seen this. It took them quite a long time to wait for this to come up. They saw the beautiful landscaping and realized, due to the ancient oaks, that there was probably more history to this than met the eye. As they started renovating the house, they started doing research with Tulane and the archaeologists and also the National Registry of Historic Places, and they painstakingly made everything authentic to the period, which is 1789. That is before Louisiana was part of the state of Louisiana.
The property was badly damaged in Hurricane Katrina. So late in life, our parents restored it again with a combination of their own remaining funds and the help of grants from both FEMA and St. Tammany Parish. So St. Tammany Parish has a substantial investment in this property. The home was elevated, and the archaeological finds that were collected during that process have been donated to the parish. The mitigation process was a featured report.
So here's the house after the mitigation. You can see the berm that was created and the National Registry. And it is built with the brick between posts, the French Creole style house, similar to Lafitte's blacksmith shop. It's called Briquette entre Prateau, if I pronounce that terribly, forgive me. But it turned out Francois Cousin was the one that built it. The other structure is the next house, which is about 100 years old. It was built by Mr. Gwynn, hence the road, Gwynn Road. And it has beaded board and wood. It's also been renovated and mitigated through the parish grants with FEMA. And it is fairly close to the house, which was another consideration in our lines, but we had to separate the two. You can also see the workshop that was part of our consideration, and between the two, way back there, you may or may not be able to see the art studio that's behind it. So those were some other issues.
Another challenge in dividing the property is the pond at the center of the property. The Francois Cousin at one time operated a small brickyard and a schooner building business on the property. The bricks from the excellent clay that came out of this pond were used to build not only the Francois Cousin home, but very likely contributed to rebuilding the French Quarter in New Orleans after the Great Fire that destroyed so much of the French Quarter. This diagram is not the current survey. It's one we submitted in December to get our wetlands determination, but the reason that we put it in here is so that you can see how much of this property is wetlands, and it's one of the great challenges, although it's one of the most wonderful assets of the property, it's also one of the greatest challenges in being able to design lots. The diagonal red lines are all marsh. So even though it looks like lots 4 and 5 are huge, much of that is unusable and very low. It's a beautiful, beautiful view, but it's not usable. And then all the right and lower part is Bayou Liberty. The little blue, the little aqua lines are all Bayou Liberty. So water is significantly an issue in devising a fair division of the lots for the family.
This is a view from the bayou, just so you can see how private it is, the 17 acres are. This is Bayou Liberty, which is designated a natural and scenic waterway. There's 400 foot of bayou frontage there, but 900 feet of spectacular marsh. The property is surrounded on 3 sides by either bayou or wetlands, which means the only way our property can be seen by someone other than our family and guests would be by private drive or by boat. There is one private home that's equally as secluded off to the far right. And then I would just quickly want to show you the current drive, which is limestone and also very beautiful. And it was designed by George Dunbar, who is one of our premier developers here. And he kept that at a nice curving shape in order to skirt the pond, the wetlands, the ancient oaks, to maintain as much of the natural beauty as possible. It has excellent drainage in all of the floods. We've been able to utilize this getting in and out.
We also want to stress that the home sites are very discreet, the existing ones, and they blend with the landscape, and that's what we intend to continue with the 3 additional home sites. That's another reason for the way we've drawn them out. Although the term subdivision is an appropriate parish term for what we're doing, it was never our intent to develop a subdivision in the usual sense of the word. We never intended this to be a typical subdivision. To respect the integrity of the property, we don't want it to look like a modern subdivision with regular boundaries. And besides that, the property itself is not rectangular. We're not property developers. This is a succession. The irregular shapes that we're requesting are also dictated by the equitable distribution of the value of the estate to allow adequate bayou frontage for each lot, and also to allow for the fact that 2 sites already have existing structures. That's our problem, not yours, but that's part of the reason that we designed them the way they did. Also, in the cases of lots 4 and 5, the shape is influenced by the large areas of existing marsh, which is wetlands. Keep in mind that in spite of our request for a reduced lot width, each of the lots well exceeds the acreage that's required, the 1 acre size, and most by a substantial amount. This is just a quick view of Google Map, Google Earth of the drive that comes to our private drive, and the reason to show you this is how secluded it is. Starting at the very top of that picture and coming down to the arrows, that's Gwynn Road that leads to us. It's a very, very country secluded road, and it ends at Bayou Liberty, and the 3 arrows are, the left arrow is the entrance to our lane, Lowry Lane. That's our private drive. And you can see how it winds on to the house and down to the bayou. The other 2 arrows are our 2 immediate neighbors, and they're the only other people beyond us on that road, because you can see that on Gwynn Road, because you can see that it ends at the bayou, and we do have their blessing, both of them. In fact, one wanted to be here tonight, but they had illness in the family. And if you prefer, mailboxes can be on Lowry Lane rather than on the Gwynn Road frontage.
I would
And-
ask you have about a minute left if you would come to closing on this. This
Okay,
part.
the next one is our Bayou Liberty Association President's letter in support of this, bearing all the letters that he got. And we just want to briefly say that we are concerned about the undue financial hardships if we have to create a 100-foot-long straight road. We're trying to maximize the value for everyone here. And we are aware that if we were north of I-12, it might be a little easier for us to do this. And we're asking for the same consideration since we're south of that area. And here you can see exactly what you have on your lots.
The one thing I wanted to point out about this is the area I took the liberty on the survey that you have in your packet of drawing in the aqua part there. That's not our property, that's our neighbor's property. So you can see that there's just a very narrow little strip. The only way in and the only way out of our property is through that narrow little strip, and then from there, the other properties have to attach. So what we're asking is that the lots be allowed to come to our existing drive as much as possible, so that we can extend the lease that we have to, as opposed to extending the drive long enough to make 150-foot lot, widths for each lot. And in fact, if we did that, actually it would push Lot 5 all the way into the wetlands, and it would be totally valueless. So we really feel that it's important to keep the drive as close as it is to where it is, and let the lots come to it.
And this is the final summary. And basically, you've heard our points. I'm not going to belabor it because I'm out of time, but this is on Lot 5, and it's showing where there's a very clear-cut area that my father kept open. At the time that he planned for all of us to be there, this would have been allowed. And possibly under 499, eventually this would be allowed. And so it's just the time frame that we're in now. Thank you
Thank
very
you, and would
much,
appreciate your
and
consideration.
sincerely appreciate your time. Sorry we
Thank
took
you.
so long.
We're going to allow, if anyone else, is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of this that would add something to the conversation? Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, at this time I would close it to the public and bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Ms. Casey Collins, could you please come up to the podium? You already answered one of my questions. Over here. You already answered one of my questions, because I saw that lot north of Lot 1, and I didn't realize who owned that. I thought maybe that was in the family too. So Lot 1 goes directly to Bayou Liberty, and it looks like there's no significant marsh there, so they can have access to Bayou Liberty. Is that correct? And that's your intention? And Lot 2 is the same. So Lot 2, there's a residence out there now.
That's the
Is-
Francois Cousin house.
And who's living in that now?
My sister.
Okay. And Lot 3, who's living in that residence?
That's just a guest house, and that will eventually be my nephew Lowry down there.
My son.
Okay, and I see why,
My sister did live there before my parents died.
okay, and I see why you increased the size of Lot 4 and Lot 5. Now, Lot 5 has no access to Bayou Liberty because it's all wetlands.
That's correct, but that's my son, Chris, right there, and I'll be Lot 4. So
So in
I
case he
purposely
needs-
kept a little bit of bayou frontage on my lot so that we can both access it there.
Is that why the property line, the southern property line of Lot 3 cuts back up instead of going straight across?
That's right, that's exactly why,
Just so you could have access?
to have access to the bayou, right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lauren.
I have a question, and I think it's probably more for the surveyor,
Oh, okay.
if I could. And it has to do with lot number 5. According to the survey we have, it's a total of 6.63, I can't read it, 636 or 635, somewhere along in there.
Yes, sir, 636.
And it looks to me like 80% of it or so is beyond the edge of the marsh line delineation line. Is that correct?
The majority of that lot actually is part of that road access as well, too, going up to the front. But it does have, the vast majority is marsh. That is correct.
Well, I guess what I'm looking at is how much is that is usable, lot 5?
If you look at the homes that are drawn on there, I mean, you can definitely fit a home site on lot 5
Okay,
within the non-wet area.
Commissioner Richard?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually appreciate the presentation. I understand what you're trying to do. I applaud you for going through this much effort to do it. And I would support this regardless of the irregular shape, because I understand what you're trying to do. The only question I have, and maybe staffs can help me on this, is the driveway needs to be constructed to parish standards, correct? Because it's being accessed. Is that current drive that's been put together up to parish standards?
When I took a look at it, it appears it doesn't meet the 20-foot lot width. There may be some issues with additional surface that will need to be added, and possibly even a drainage ditch along the roadway, but that'll be something that the engineering department will decide once they get into that process.
Yeah, that's my only concern, because I know you've taken made a lot of effort there. And the reason the concern's there is, clearly, if we put this into the public record, and this is now the subdivision, if you will, of the lots of record, in the future, someone in the family may want to sell it to an outside party. I know that's not your intent today, but we have to protect those people in the future as well, because they'll look at us and say, why did the parish do that? So do you understand that even if we approve this, which I hope we do, you may still have to bring that road up to parish standards?
Yes, we do understand that. Mr. Keller made it very clear that we need to do that, and we expect to do that. We hope as closely as possible to stay within the current drive and have it follow the path that it does, simply because it's a nice base there. It's served well, but we will do what we have to do to make it. We just don't want to have to extend it any more than we have to.
Understood.
We have a little cul-de-sac built in there so that the other lots can access it. So I guess our problem is not with making that particular road up to parish standards. And of course, you can see, well, it's gone, but you can see there's a very narrow, it may not be wide enough on the way in, I'm not sure whether it is or isn't, but there's nothing we can do about that because that's how wide the property is. There's no other place for it to be. So we'll do the best we can to comply. We hope to keep the old, we have beautiful old live oak trees, they're ancient, and we really hope to keep all of those. And as I said, the road has served us well. We've had fire trucks, emergency vehicles when my parents were alive. We had to call 911 a number of times. It's created no problem whatsoever, and it's well drained. When the road floods, our driveway does not. So I have a feeling, we don't have the report back yet, but I have a feeling that it won't be that far off. It's a nice limestone. They've kept it up to date. The family
Excellent.
has.
Well, I'll defer if there's any other questions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Casabon?
This has been a beautiful presentation, well thought out. We do this a lot on this end of the parish where we have parcels that we look at because they are part of your family, that your parents have worked hard for to give it to you. And I understand how it is to make it work. You've done a beautiful job, I think, of preserving Bayou Liberty and what it means. I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve.
With
Commissioner-
waivers? With waivers?
With the waivers, which will require 8 votes to pass. Commissioner Willie?
I guess the staff thinks. The northern boundary of Lot 5, does that reach all the way to Gwynn Road?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have a problem with the driveway and how it looks and if it's legal or not. But is there an established right-of-way for those other 4 lots in case, like you say, something sells down the road? Just
Well-
following up on what Todd was saying.
Yeah, well, actually, if you look at the survey, there is a roadway, it's an existing roadway, and then they're going to extend it to do a cul-de-sac in the south end to allow access for lots. 3
Yeah,
and
I
4
see
and
that,
5.
but I don't see anything established right-of-way on my survey. You know, I see the slender portion of Lot 5 where the road is.
Yeah, well, you
But
see where,
there's no established, I don't
you see
see an
where the-
established right-of-way.
do you see where the cul-de-sac is?
Yes,
Yeah, that's the established right-of-way.
okay.
It'll be
Well, you
20,
just don't
minimum
say
of
it on
20
the
feet
survey.
wide with a
Okay.
cul-de-sac, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Commissioner Davis?
Sorry, a question again from Ms. Collins and Ms. Case.
Yes, sir.
Who'd you say was going to own Lot 5?
Lot 5, our son, Christopher.
You're not going to charge these people a toll, since you got the only road that leads.
We've already threatened him on that.
I know we have a motion to approve, and as long as these roads are all up to Parish standards, and the cul-de-sac's gotta be up to Parish standards as well.
right.
And it looks like the road automatic, right now goes to 3 lots, 1, 2, and 3, correct?
It's actually used for that right now.
So all you would do there is from the cul-de-sac would generate another road through Lot 4 and then combine Lot 5. You wouldn't generate 2 separate roads, right? You'd have one coming off of Lot 4 and then split off to Lot 5?
Well, actually, I don't know that we've thought that far. Are we gonna do
Actually, you'd be teeing up that little cul-de-sac to get lot 5.
with the two together?
Right, I mean, we're gonna keep the road system as is as much as possible.
Right.
And then we'll just have that little cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
driveways.
Yeah, just so you don't have so much, activity there. Okay, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Second by Commissioner Davis. With the waiver. Commissioner Lauren, no further comment? We have a motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve with a waiver, second by Commissioner Davis. Please vote.
Motion carries with waivers.
Thank you. Excellent presentation, and having been on that property, the way your family has kept that historic site for St. Tammany is extraordinary. We commend you for that.
Thank you. And we invite any of you that would like to come out.
Absolutely. We keep the coffee pot on.
Food?
Since you're half of the assembly, we'll give you a few moments to leave.
Sorry about that. You take that. Yes, thank you.
Is this applicant's name, Mr. Carl Bear?
I think so,
B-E-I-E-R.
yeah, offer, yeah,
B-E-I-E-R. Okay.
Bear, I think.
Give it a shot.
Or I can ask Jay to speak into the microphone. Jay, when you speak, will you bring the microphone closer if you can?
Are y'all ready for the next?
No, I'm going to call you in a minute, but Commissioner Dougherty couldn't hear, so if you,
I didn't realize my microphone was on. I was trying to get clarification on something for
Oh.
the next,
thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if
I
it's,
don't,
Petition, no, we control that, right. Petitions and requests, we have none. Entering the Tammany Trace, we have none. Revocations, closing review. Revocation 17-08-002. The revocation of portions of Josephine Street in Lacombe Park subdivision, located at the intersection with Richard Street, Lacombe, Louisiana, Ward 7, District 7. The applicant and Buyer Real Estate LLC and Buyer Property Management LLC. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Jacob Groby. Staff,
the applicant is,
Talk into it.
the applicant,
no, it's on.
It's on.
the applicant. There you go. The applicant, Mr. Carl Beer, owns 2 companies that abut the adjacent squares of the 2 segments of right-of-way intended to be revoked. We believe that his intentions are to assimilate the 2 segments of right-of-way into the adjacent squares that he owns. Recommendation, since many of the surrounding streets are not constructed and a segment of Josephine Street has already been revoked immediately to the south, the staff believes that the proposal is consistent relative to Louisiana revised statutes governing the revocation of immovable property, since the 2 segments of right-of-way do not appear to serve any public use or benefit other than to the applicant. Therefore, staff has no objections to the proposed revocation request, subject to the following stipulation. A, the applicant should be required to assimilate the 2 segments of right-of-way into the adjacent squares that he owns through the parish's re-subdivision process.
that's it.
That's all.
That's it, no B, right? Thank you. The petitioner here?
I'm Martha Jubenville. The petitioner's not here. I'm the attorney representing him. Carl Byers, the local, he owns Buyer Radio. When I first prepared this revocation request, the properties, these 4 squares are deeded part to 2 different companies. However, unbeknownst to me, Mr. Buyer had combined those, so there really is only one owner now. Buyer Real Estate LLC, which owned 2 of the squares, has been merged into Buyer Property Management LLC, so there's only 1. And he does intend to combine this all into one. I didn't know that a formal re-subdivision would be required, but if that is what is required, we can do that, or we could just combine it into one of the squares. And, they're not being used, there are no utilities in there. We received all the no objection letters from all of the utilities. And this leads directly back, I brought some area maps, it leads back to Bayou Lacombe. On the resub plat that was prepared by Mr. Bono, you can see that you can see in the, right where the north area is, the Bayou Lacombe thing. So Richard Street, which is also not constructed, leads directly back to the bayou. So, it will be all under the same, ownership. I don't know if he would object to, he's bought basically 4 squares. And we can combine that into one or the other if you want us to, or maybe we could do something with assimilation language, Ron. No, it has to be resubbed? Okay. Well, that's what we have. So it really is only one company.
We done
that owns it.
administratively, so it's not a big
Okay. We can just have John prepare the map.
And Ms. Jubenville, would you state your name and address for the record?
It's Martha L. Jumenville. Everyone calls me Jinx Jumenville, and my address is 9 Starbrush Circle, Suite 101, Covington.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Ma'am?
Yes?
On the one plat, so it looks like it's about 4/10 of an acre from parcel B and parcel A is what you'll be adding to the properties up from Bayou Lacombe, correct?
Yes. I
Does
don't
the-
know if the surveyor put, yeah.
Right.
The surveyor has that on there. Each of the parcels is .41 of an acre.
Okay,
I don't know if you have the full-size maps. I have some extras.
right, I do have that. The individual that owns the property from the bayou all up to the area in which you want to be revoked, he also owns the property to the east, to the west of that as well, all those other small individual lots?
He owns all of Square, or the company owns all of Square 136 and 133, that goes all the way to Fish Hatchery Road.
Okay, so he
Which-
does own the entire
Yes,
parcel then?
Yes,
And yet, Richard Street is not built yet,
correct.
so,
So that would leave just 2 large parcels of
Okay,
property.
all right.
Richard Street, I think they're still deciding whether they would want to try to revoke that or not, or leave that open.
right, in
They-
case
they
the
really have
parish,
They have no plans for the property at
okay,
all.
in
They
case the
just-
parish builds a street from Richard Street all the way to Bayou Lacombe there, right?
Which would only benefit him, so I don't know if they would do that, but yes, that would be correct, because there's no one else. That street dead ends, it doesn't show because the survey didn't continue, but that street dead ends at Bayou Lacombe. So Bayou Lacombe is covering, I have an area map, some area maps if you want to see it, so that you can see just how.
I know the area very well, I live in Bayou Lacombe, I know the area very
Okay.
well. It's just with Richard Street, my concern is, when all this is gonna be grouped together in one parcel, I wouldn't build anything on Richard Street, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, he understands that. That will
Okay.
only leave, that'll leave really 2 large parcels on either side of Richard Street.
Okay, and his intentions is to sell each parcel individually?
There's no intention
Okay,
at all
that's
right
fine.
now. And again, it could be that, he already lives in Lacombe, on Bayou Lacombe. I don't know if you live there, if you know him, has a big old boat. But we may decide to come back and maybe request to revoke that and leave it as one huge, large parcel.
Okay,
But but since he had already bought, he'd seen that some of Josephine Street had been revoked and just didn't want that separating 134 from 133 and 135 from 136. So
Right.
there's really no plans at all right now.
okay. I don't have a problem with this, but I'll let somebody else speak it. Thank you.
Any other commissioners have comments or? No one in the queue. Commissioner Casabon.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve. Commissioner Davis.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any further comments? Seeing none, we have a motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve, second by Commissioner Davis. Please vote.
Mr. Davis, would you like to vote?
Mr. Davis, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Re-subdivision review, 2017-741-MRP. Wildwood Farms, Lot 52B into lots 52B1 and 52B2, Ward 6, District 6. The petitioner, Alan Schnorr, surveyor J.V. Burks and Associates, Inc., owner Alan Schnorr, Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Richard Tanner. Staff?
This property was previously re-subdivided in 2006 and approved by the Planning Commission in order to allow the owner to re-subdivide into Lot 52 into 3 lots. Now the current property owner wants to re-subdivide Lot 52B into 2 parcels, thereby creating a third parcel that will use the 20-foot wide private access easement provided. Recommendation: the staff does not recommend or does not support the re-subdivision request due to the fact that the existing private road does not meet any of the parish road construction standards, and the staff is concerned that any additional traffic on said road could lead to the potential or further degradation of the private drive. Furthermore, it is poor planning to permit the further re-subdivision of lots within established subdivisions of record on substandard private roads when public roads constructed to parish standards have already been provided. And in addition, the further re-subdivision promotes the creation of added density, which can put pressure on a subdivision's infrastructure relative to traffic, roadway quality, and drainage.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Alan Schnorr. I live in 28220 Evelyn Drive in Lacombe.
If you would move that microphone up. Thank you, sir. And the reason for your request.
The property is long and narrow, and the way it's set up, at one point there was a mobile home on the front property and then the house on the back portion. At the end of the road, there is a mobile home with a husband and wife that lives in it, but the driveway is very well maintained. Ever since I've owned the property, every year I invest in limestone and someone grades the driveway for me. And it also, like, all the way up into Evans Creek, there's actually a big ditch on side the driveway that I think at one point the parish or somebody did it up to code, maybe when they first did the first subdivision. So it never holds water, and like I said, it's a very well-maintained driveway. The way the property's set up now, from the back house, you really can't even see the front 2 acres because there's like a buffer with that creek, and it's a beautiful front 2 acres. There's a pond on it, and I would like to put my dad on that property with a mobile home, and it's the way the lot's designed, it's set up really good for two properties, just because, like I said, with the buffer, you don't even see the pond from the house. But it is a limestone driveway. It might not look very big on the survey, but it's very wide. Like, I can pass the neighbors up on it whenever there's very little traffic, just a husband and wife that lives on the back, and we can pass each other up on the driveway at any time. And being that it's not a very wide property, it really couldn't do a huge driveway up to code. It would just eat up the whole lots. But it is very well used. I mean, very well, accessible right now.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to commend staff on this report. We often get concerned that we do these minor subdivisions and then someone comes back later on and wants to add yet another subdivision, and we don't always have that information in front of us. So giving us a history, I appreciate that, because quite frankly, we intended it to be something and we approved something, and now we're being requested to make a further subdivision. I'm less inclined to want to do this because without having all the reasons in front of us that we made the original subdivision. And again, if we're going to do something like this, those roads have to be brought up to parish standards because, again, someone's going to sell this in the future. So I'd like to hear what some of the fellow commissioners have to say about it. But I just wanted to, again, commend staff because, you know, if we don't know about the history or we don't remember why we did a subdivision in the past, it makes it very difficult to address these items. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis.
Mr. Snore, how many people are living on this property now?
My property, 2.
2? And this is going to be at the very back of the property, is that what you're saying? That's where they are located?
Yes, on the house portion of it, you can see on, the back half of it.
Okay, and then where the pond is, are you intending on building there?
I would like to put a mobile home on it for my dad. My dad right now is retired, and it would be a great location for him. He wants to live on the property. He loves the property.
But there's going to be 3 pieces of property is what you're trying to
No,
get?
just 2.
Oh, just 2?
2-acre parcels. And like I said, the way it's set up, it's not a good one parcel, like one tract of land because of that buffer with the creek. You don't even see the front half of it. But the front half is actually one of the prettiest portions of the property with the pond and the big oak trees. And at one point, it had a mobile home on there before I bought the property. It was a family land. And so I'd kind of like to create the same thing except, you know, dividing it this time.
The 2 individuals that are currently living there now, are they in a house?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a house, it's not a mobile home and everything?
No, it's a house.
Would this individual have to get a manufacturing home overlay request as well? To put his father in a?
I'm not sure if there is a manufactured overlay there, but if it wasn't, he'd have to do that, yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with Commissioner Richard, though. The only drawback you have is having to build the road to parish standards. Well, one of the most important things we're trying to do now is keep this infrastructure correct, like this previous case we just had. I mean, the young lady had 5 different family members, and they had to build all the roads to the standards of the parish. So I'm in agreement with Commissioner Richard that I'm not too inclined to approve this.
Commissioner Casabon.
Yes, this particular area is really rural, even though it has been made into a subdivision. With it being the 2 acres, and a, narrow strip, it is still a 2-acre, parcel on each one. With it being where it is, and it is a limestone road?
Yes, ma'am.
You have it limestone
Yes.
on there. I really don't have the problem because of the type of, area that, that's there, it's more rural, that this is a kind of standard road. I understand what you're saying about if they did sell it, but I feel like if they did sell it, then the people would be back there looking at it, and they would be aware of what type of road that they have. I really don't have a problem with it. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve. Commissioner Richardson. Second by Commissioner. We have a second by Commissioner Richardson. Commissioner Davis. Yes. Commissioner Davis.
This road currently, staff, actually serves more than just 2 locations. Is that correct?
It will, excuse me,
my eyes aren't too good tonight. Yeah, actually, it currently serves the two parcels, 52C and 52B. The other one, yeah, the other one and that one, and then there's a one property to the north of that that comes off of although I think they utilize this road, there is another public road that's on the north side of 52B, B2 that they're proposing.
So it's almost like four parcels.
Yeah, so basically you could, yes, and they say you have four parcels.
I think-
And I'd like to kind of add that, you keep in mind, this is not a minor subdivision. This is a subdivision of record that lots were created this way off of public roads to be used in that fashion. So when you create these private drives into ththese properties, you have potential issues with the roadways and drainage. Actually, what he's doing now, he could, because the property is owned A2, he could come back again and create 2 1-acre parcels, and then you have 5 lots on the private road in a subdivision of record that was not intended to be done that way. And you set a precedent as well. I mean, I understand why maybe it was done in one isolated incident, but if you start allowing people to continue to create all these private roads and create these lots, you're gonna have some infrastructure issues.
Okay, very well said, thank you.
Are there any further comments? No, we have a motion by Commissioner Casabon to approve, second by Commissioner Richardson. Please vote.
Motion nope. 3 yeas and 7 nays.
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
You have the right to appeal if you want to the parish council, this decision. You can get a copy of the waiver of the appeal application over
here. 2017-743-MRP, Forest Glen addition to Lacombe Park, a portion of Farm 552 into parcels A and B, Ward 7, District 7. Petitioner, Beth Shepherd Turkin et al., Surveyor, Nobles and Associates LLC. The owner, Beth Shepherd Turkin et al., Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Jacob Groby. Staff.
The owner is proposing to re-subdivide the remnant farm tract, which already has 2 homes on it, into 2 parcels, 1 parcel for each residence. Recommendation, the property was recently rezoned to A3 suburban, which permits parcels of this size, and there are already 2 homes on the property with individual sewer and water systems. The staff has no objections to the proposed re-subdivision request, subject to the owner consulting with Environmental Services Department to determine if any alterations are needed relative to the individual sewer and water systems, since the property is being re-subdivided into 2 separate parcels. Furthermore, since parcel B will not have any direct public road frontage due to the re-subdivision and will be accessed via an existing 30-foot private servitude of access, a waiver of regulations are required relative to the private drive access issue. A 2/3 majority vote of the full membership of the commission, 8 members, is needed in order to approve pursuant to section 4100 waiver of regulations of subdivision regulatory ordinance 499.
Is the petitioner here, or representative for? If you'd come to the podium, sir, state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name's Charles Shepherd, 27057 Cushion Mountain Road. I live on part of the property, and my sister, the estate is represented by my sisters. Yeah, I would like to continue to stay there. We've lived there since 1963. Me and my family and wife and kids has lived there since 1979. I still have access to the back portion of the property is where we want to continue to stay at. I believe the rest of my siblings would like to sell the front. They have no interest in retaining it in the family, and it's because of succession of my mom and dad. But I would like to continue to work with the parish to bring about a 75-foot piece of that road up to parish standards so that I could access the property through the roadway, but it has a telephone pole right in the middle of it right now. So I checked with CLECO. They responded by saying that it was CLECO's right-of-way because the road was never cut through all the way, the road was never cut through all the way through the subdivision, so they just put the pole in the middle of the road. But we have the servitude so that I can, the driveway that we use now. But I would like to work on getting the road. I need about another 75 foot, and then I could take a right-hand turn onto a piece of property that I would keep, and it's all to be remained residential. It's not for a commercial thing or anything. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I know this area very well out there in Lacombe. Cusimano Road probably does need to be extended. I agree with you on that, sir. You need to get with Councilman Groby on that. He should be able to help you with that, okay? But as far as this case goes, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Davis to approve. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Any further comments? We have a motion by Commissioner Davis to approve, second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you. Dormant subdivision review, we have none. Tentative subdivision review, we have none. Preliminary subdivision review, 2017-680-PP. Whispering Forest, Ward 1, District 3. Developer owner, Bob Hessen. Engineer, Arrow Engineering and Consultants. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. This was postponed at the July 11th, 2017 meeting at the request of the developer. Staff?
The developer has requested postponement to the September Planning Commission meeting.
Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the postponement to the September meeting? Is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak in opposition of a postponement till September meeting? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Dougherty.
Jay, has Arrow Engineering given you any reasons as to why he's continuing to postpone this? Do we need to postpone it indefinitely?
We're continuing to work through staff comments on the subdivision right now.
So he might be another 6 months.
I don't know his timeline.
I'm gonna put a motion on the floor to postpone indefinitely. That'll give him as much time as he needs to work through the staff comments. That way we don't have to look at it and take action on it every month. If we get a second and the commission agrees with me, then so be it. Thank you.
A motion by Commissioner Dougherty to postpone indefinitely. Commissioner Willie.
Well, I was going to move the motion to postpone, but right now I'm not.
Okay. Commissioner Lauren. Motion or second by Commissioner Lauren to postpone indefinitely. Commissioner Fitzmaurice. No further comment? We have a motion by Commissioner Dougherty to postpone indefinitely, which would mean that the petitioner has to come back to the commission in order to put it back onto the agenda. And again, for public information, what Commissioner Dougherty has gone through is when we see postponements in succession, oftentimes this is the right response to let them have time to work out with staff, whatever there might be, but it doesn't come month after month in front of the commission until such time that it actually is remedied. So again, we have a motion by Commissioner Dougherty to postpone indefinitely, second by Commissioner Lauren. Please vote.
Motion carries 8 yeas, 1 absent,
Thank you.
1 nay.
2017-738-PP, Beatico Creek, Parcel 15, Ward 1, District 1. Developer owner, Beatico Creek Preserve LLC. Engineer Kelly McHugh and Associates, Inc. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Marty Dean. Staff.
Preliminary plans have been reviewed by this office and an inspection of the site was made. It's recommended that the preliminary submittal be approved subject to the following comments. On the preliminary plat, revise the lake boundaries to remove the conflict between existing lake boundaries shown and proposed lot boundaries. Revise this on all sheets and indicate any modifications to the existing lake boundaries if required. Number 2, the area to the west of Lot 549 is not included as any part of a lot, parcel, or green space. For parcel 15, parcel 12B, or parcel 13, identify the intent of this area and include it on one of the subdivision phases. Number 3, the area to the west of lot 574 is not identified as a lot, parcel, or green space, but is included in the footprint of parcel 13. Identify the intent of this area. Paving and drainage plan. The master drainage plan for Beatico Creek is still required to be submitted to St. Tammany Parish for review and approval. The drainage plan must provide verification that the current phases of Beatico Creek are achieving the required 25% peak runoff reduction. Number 5, verify the existing invert elevations for the relocated RCPA near Lot 549 are to be used at the new location. The water and sewer plan. The center of the road at elevation 25 between lots 561 and 567 on the sewer and water plan is in conflict with the center of the road elevation of 25.5 shown on the paving and drainage plan. Revise the plans to correct this conflict. The SWIP and signage plan. Revise the stormwater site plan to include controls for excavated and filled areas. Include a SWIP legend. Provide installation detail for all applicable BMPs. Indicate on the plan the physical location for the SWIP on the site. Include a stormwater site or a stormwater path map indicating the path stormwater takes on the site, discharge points off the site, and pathway to Lake Pontchartrain. No maintenance obligation is required since this is an extension of a private subdivision. No mandatory developmental fee is required at final in accordance with ordinance number 499 since a public hearing was held prior to January 1st, 2005. Revised drawings will not be accepted prior to the August 8th, 2017 Planning Commission meeting to ensure that any additional comments established at the meeting can be incorporated into the revised plans.
Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone on behalf of Beatico Creek Preserve. Parcel 15 is another phase and parcel within the Beatico Creek development that you've seen over the last many years. With regards to the staff comments that Mr. Watson just read into the record, Mr. McHugh and his office have made the changes to the preliminary plat, to the paving and drainage plan, and to the sewer and water plan, as well as to the SWEP and signage plan. None of these changes were significant. The conflicts have been resolved and the modifications have been made, simply waiting on action by this commission to formalize them and have them resubmitted to Mr. Watson and his staff. With regards to the master drainage plan and the hydrological study referenced on item 4, the master drainage plan preliminary version has been completed, submitted to parish staff. We anticipate having the final version done by the end of the week and submitted. And with regards to the hydrological study and the 25% peak runoff reduction, that has been performed for parcel 15, and parcel 15 meets that requirement. In fact, exceeds that requirement. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but we would ask for your approval of preliminary for parcel 15, subject to the staff comments.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Lauren.
I'm sorry. In regard to the request for the waiver on the drive, does that apply only to lot 769? Okay, excuse me.
Yes, but I'll speak more in detail about that when that case comes up, Mr. Warren. I think you're a little ahead of me on that one.
He's a forward thinker. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Commissioner Davis.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Drum.
New mechanical thing. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Under the storm drainage system notes on the drawing, item 6, it says the corrugated metal pipe shall be double asbestos bonded, bituminous coated. I thought we did away with asbestos.
I'm going to look to Mr. McHugh to help me answer that question.
Number 6 is considering the sewer and water, must be different notes.
I think he's looking at it on the plan.
He's looking at the plans itself, the plating.
You talking about driveways?
I'm just,
Roadways has to be concrete, but under driveways, you have the option of doing concrete or metal pipe.
The reference to asbestos.
in reference to asbestos, I thought we did away with asbestos. I'm just asking.
I guess it should say coated metal pipe, okay?
But it's coated with asbestos.
I don't know that that's probably an old note.
In all due respect, answer the question to the commissioner, please. If you do know, answer it. If it's incorrect, say it'll be corrected with whatever the material, Mr. McHugh, that you use or the construction company uses.
It is an old note, and it'll be corrected on the resubmittal to the parish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve, second by Commissioner Davis. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Final subdivision review, we have none. Proposed amendments to ordinance 499, we have none. Old business. Beatico Creek, Bubble 2, Phase 2, Ward 1, District 1. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable Marty Dean. A request by home builder to waive driveway setback on corner lot. Staff.
Honorable Commissioners, the home builder is requesting a waiver of regulations for restrictive covenant number 10 on corner lots. Driveways cannot be located nearer than 60 feet from a property corner. See the letter dated July 18, 2017 from Ryan Scott, Highland Homes, and letter dated July 18, 2017 from David Waltmath, Beatico Creek Preserve Owners Association. The Department of Development Engineering has reviewed the request and has no objection. Therefore, should the Planning Commission grant the request, a resolution adopted by not less than 2/3 majority affirmative vote of the Planning Commission membership will be required.
Thank you. Mr. Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone again, this time on behalf of Highland Homes, who is the owner of this particular lot. Mr. Guidry and Mr. Ryan are here this evening, should you have any questions of them. You're familiar with the guideline, and we've gone through it a number of times in various stages of the planning process where the code requires that any corner driveway be at least 60 feet from the corner. We've run into issues with that, particularly on developments with either garden home sections or smaller lots. This is what we have in this particular instance. So we would respectfully request a waiver as it applies to this one particular lot in Beatico Creek for the following reasons. First, this lot is part of a row of lots, all of which have uniform design requirements under the restrictive covenants for Beatico Creek, all of which require a J-load front garage. So to change this would change not only how it affects this lot, but also the entire streetscape in the area. The builder, the proposed buyer, and the developer and the homeowners association are all in support of the waiver. You see a letter from Mr. Walter Math in the file wherein he supports the waiver. This is a very lightly trafficked area. We would respectfully submit to you that an approval in this instance would not create a safety concern really in any way. I would also point out that as you look at the other neighborhoods within Beatico Creek, you would see similar drives, a similar distance from the corner, but less than 60 feet. And in all of those instances, there have not been any problems, there have not been any safety concerns or backup of traffic or anything along those lines. It's worked very well, and they would like to have the ability to continue it here. In addition, Heron Lake Drive is the entrance drive to this cove or this portion of the development, this neighborhood inside of Beatico Creek, and it is their desire to have no driveways off of that entrance road. So for these reasons, we would respectfully request your approval of this waiver as it applies to this one particular lot in this phase of Beatico Creek. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of the commissioners might have.
Thank you, Mr. Marone. Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie.
For the reasons stated by Paul, yeah, I move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Willie to approve. Commissioner Lauren. Second by Commissioner Lauren. We have a motion by Commissioner Willie to approve, second by Commissioner Lauren. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. River Park Estates, Phase 1, Ward 3, District 3. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Request by developer to waive driveway setback on corner lot. Staff.
Honorable Commissioners, the developer is requesting a waiver of regulations for restrictive covenant number 10 on corner lots. Driveways cannot be located nearer than 60 feet from a property corner. C, Jeff Valley's email dated June 20, 2017, 9:30 a.m. The Department of Development Engineering has reviewed the request and has no objection. Therefore, should the Planning Commission grant the request, a resolution adopted by not less than 2/3 majority. Affirmative vote of the Planning Commission membership is required.
Thank you. Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Marone again, this time on behalf of Mr. Valet and D.H. Horton, Inc. Very similar issue to what we just talked about in Beatico Creek. We're just moving north and east a little bit to River Park Estates. And you see the letter from Mr. Valet in the file, which I think lays out in pretty good detail exactly why the request is being made. In addition, they have provided sketches which show in detail where the driveway would sit and how it would function. So as you will see, if the waiver is granted, the distance would be 48 feet from the property corner, but 68 feet from the edge of the pavement. So for these reasons, and as set forth in Mr. Valet's letter, particularly regarding the culverting of certain areas in this particular development, or these two developments, we would respectfully request your approval of not only the waiver as it applies to the lots in the request, but also as to the act of correction that will appear on your agenda after this item.
Thank you, Mr. Marone.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor of the request? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and bring it to the commission. Commissioner Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're probably going to approve this one too, but I got to tell you, I'm having a hard time when we know on the front end that we've got these distance requirements from the corners, and we approved the subdivision, and the lots didn't change in size. I know what we did. We probably looked at it and said, well, we can put a lot in the backside off a different street, and that's how we can meet the code requirements. I'm gonna go ahead and probably put in a motion to approve, and I'm disappointed in us in that if we're gonna do this in the future, let's catch it at the stage when we're actually doing the planning and approval, not wait till we come backwards and ask us to do waivers because of the size of the lots. They were always this size.
Well stated. So we have a motion by Commissioner Richard with the waiver. Commissioner Davis?
Paul, is this just for one lot again?
No, this is for a series of lots, all of which are identified in the request. It's,
What's the total number of lots that you're asking for this?
I believe it's 22 over the two developments. That covers River Park Estates as well as the, let's see, River Park and the development across the road, which has changed names, but River Park Crossing, River Park Estates and River Park Crossing.
Okay, thank you.
And we had a second by Commissioner Willie, correct, with waiver. Commissioner Dougherty?
Thank you, Paul. And following up on Commissioner Richard's comment about when these lots and stuff were approved in the very beginning, why did we not catch this at that time?
I can't say for certain with regards to River Park Crossing. That was a new development. River Park Estates were lots of record, so those were treated a little bit different in that they already existed. So there really wasn't that lot layout was not created from scratch. It was pre-existing when we came in. As to River Park Crossing, I'm not exactly sure why those weren't caught coming in. But I would, to Mr. Richard's point, which is a good point, it may be that it's time to examine that provision. And I know that will ultimately be a decision maybe by the council, but it may be something that perhaps we bring to the council's attention just to look at, because this provision may need to be changed, may need to be removed, but it probably, I think it comes from a time when we were not dealing with garden home lots, we were not dealing with smaller lots. Most of the lots were 90 feet wide or larger. And so we're probably at a point in the parish where maybe this is one of those provisions that needs to be reviewed. I know that the staff or the administration is going through a detailed review of all of the ordinances, and I would expect maybe that there'll be some discussion or contemplation as to how this ordinance should exist going forward.
Okay, thank you. Ron, do we have any idea on how they're coming on this? Is this something that you or Jay or some of you happen to know where the review of these ordinances stands?
They're still currently working on them and reviewing them.
So we may be a year off.
Could be.
We're in final drafting phase.
Pardon?
Final drafting phase.
Thank you.
Commissioner Casabon?
I may shine some light on this, but I may be totally wrong, but Beatacrow Creek, this went way back. And we had a golf course in the middle of it, and we allowed, because of the shape of it, no, this is not this one?
This is not Beatacrow Creek.
Oh, it's not, well, that's what was on my screen, but some of these they've changed hands, and we've ended up, from what we've looked at, what worked then, and they've been sold, and it's kind of like, I wonder if sometimes we should start over when it changes hands and somebody else that let us look at this and see, okay, what's your vision for this? Can we readdress this in planning, so we don't get to this point of
of making, changes and stuff at the last minute, so. But
Thank you. If there's no further comment, we have a motion by Commissioner Richard to approve with waivers, second by Commissioner Willie. Please vote.
Motion carries.
River Park Crossing, Phase 1, Ward 3, District 3. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Request by developer to waive driveway setbacks on corner lot. Staff?
Honorable Commissioners, the developer is requesting a waiver of regulations for restrictive covenant number 9, which states driveways on corner lots shall not be located closer than 45 feet from the corner of said property closest to the intersection as measured from the property where two said right-of-ways intersect. See email from Jeff Valley dated June 20, 2017. The Department of Development Engineering has reviewed the request and has no objection. Therefore, should the Planning Commission grant the request, a resolution adopted by not less than 2/3 majority affirmative vote of the Planning Commission membership will be required.
Mr. Marone?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comments on the last case encompass this case and the next two. So we respectfully ask for your approval based on my prior comments.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Willie?
A motion to approve the waiver of the driveway setback.
A motion by Commissioner Willie to approve with waiver. Commissioner Fitzmaurice? Second by Commissioner Fitzmaurice. Any further comments? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
River Park Estates, Phase 1, Ward 3, District 3. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Surveyor's Act of Correction. Staff.
Honorable Commissioners, the attached Act of Correction by Kelly J. McHugh, Professional Land Surveyor, has been reviewed by this office and is acceptable. It's recommended that it be approved so that it can be executed by the Parish President and recorded.
Thank you. Mr. Moran?
No further comments, just same as before.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close it to the public and we bring it to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice?
I'll make a motion to approve.
With waivers? Yes. Or does this require a waiver? No.
No.
Motion to approve. Commissioner Davis?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any further comments? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
River Park Crossing, Phase 1, Ward 3, District 3. Parish Council District Representative, the Honorable James Red Thompson. Surveyor's Act of Correction. Staff.
Honorable Commissioners, the attached Act of Correction by Kelly J. McHugh, Professional Land Surveyor, has been reviewed by this office and is acceptable. It's recommended that it be approved so that it can be executed by the Parish President and recorded.
Thank you. No comment, Mr. Marone? Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I close it to the public and I bring it to the commission. Commissioner Fitzmaurice.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fitzmaurice to approve. Second by Commissioner Richardson. Any further comments? Please vote.
Motion carries.
Is there any new business to come before the commission? If not, we'll take a motion to adjourn.